Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole Laino. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole Laino. And today, we're going to dive into a little bit of genius. Today, we're going to talk about what it means to really decode your genius with human design. Human design is this amazing tool that can actually allow us to understand more deeply what makes us special. This show is for entrepreneurs. This show is mainly geared toward entrepreneurs. If you're a seeker, then this is the place for you too. If you're like, I just want to know what makes me different, what makes me special. I know that there is something calling me. There's something deeper that I desire to get to. So this show is for you if you fit any of those descriptions. But one thing that I find in particular with the entrepreneurs I work with a lot, because I work with a lot of that seeker entrepreneur population, but particularly the energy workers, the healers, the people in the transformational coaching space. So the people who are life coaches who help with the somewhat intangible stuff. It's so important for you to know what makes you special because honestly, what I have found in working with these people and going deep with them is a lot of times they don't know how to articulate the special thing that they do. They get these amazing results for people. They have these skills, but they think that the skills are the thing that people buy. And they do. They're buying what you do for them. But then you're also combining what is the angle for you? Why would they go to you and not to somebody else? People come to me for a very specific reason. People come to me for the way that I deliver this message. They come to me for my expertise. They come for me for clarity on human design. They want me to explain it to them. They feel like I can illuminate something for them. That's part of my design. I have brought that front and center into my brand, and that's what I teach people to do. But I brought that front and center into my brand because it made me feel really empowered going through my own design to say, yeah, that is what I'm here for. So I want to break down in today's episode, I want to break down what's needed in order to decode your genius. Like, how do you even start? Where does this come from? Where do we find genius in the chart? Might be a little unexpected for you when I tell you where it's found and like how we go through this process. And what role does genius play in your brand and in your business? Like, why is it important to know what it is and give it a place in your business? So we're going to go through all of that in today's episode. And I call it Decoding Your Genius because I do really believe that this is a decoding process that we go through. Okay. So before we start, I do want to call out that we have the Authority Accelerator Masterclass going on right now. That is my free 5-day masterclass where I take you through all 5 pillars, 5 steps in my soul strategy method to building a business according to your human design. So I take you through that. It's all about making your expertise irresistible to the people who interact with you and your content and your message. How do we do that through human design? I'm going to take you through all of the process in a free 5-day masterclass. All you have to do to register is to DM me the word masterclass on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino Official, or go to NicoleLaino.com/masterclass and you can register right there on the website and we'll get you taken care of right there. Okay, please come. It's a really fabulous thing. So without further ado, let's get into decoding your genius with human design. So first of all, let's just talk about what geniuses are and know that you're a genius, that there is something special about every single one of us. We were born with a specific infinite potential. We all have some higher gift. And I gotta say, some people find that their gift when they first hear about it, when they first hear something, so when they read a definition of a gate, or when they read the definition of their cross or something that is supposed to be their purpose, it might seem a bit mundane. It might be a bit confusing. Then they start to feel like, oh, maybe they're not so special, or maybe this system doesn't have something for them. And I have to say that it's really just a matter of you haven't gone deep enough if you're having those feelings, that there is a much deeper level. But let's just talk about, when we talk about traditional geniuses, what makes somebody a genius? Well, geniuses are dynamic problem solvers. Geniuses don't think in the box, they think out of the box. So I'm going to challenge you as a genius to think out of the box here a little bit, to challenge you to become a dynamic problem solver. when it comes to this process of decoding your genius. Go beyond the definitions, go beyond what it quote unquote means, and start to really take it in and really absorb what it is that you're reading, contemplating, what's being told to you in a reading. However you're experiencing this information, you're listening to a podcast, really allow it to penetrate you. This approach to decoding your genius, I do think, is far more artistic than it is scientific. It's going to be a little bit more abstract than logical. So dare to go into the illogical spaces, dare to go into the more abstract places. You have to be able to go into the places where you're trying this idea on and you're really passing your life through some of these codes. So one of the ways that we start to decode the genius, one of the ways that we do it, and one of the places that we look, I think the Gene Keys activation sequence has really been laid out well as that kind of first step, which is to go through your incarnation cross. And your incarnation cross is made up of 4 gates: the conscious sun, the conscious earth, the unconscious sun, the unconscious earth, the 2 top gates on either side of your head in the columns running down the sides of your human design chart when you run it. Now, these represent your prime gifts. They represent the biggest energies in your chart. But genius isn't given or guaranteed. Purpose isn't given or guaranteed. It is something that comes through you walking the walk, okay? And there are other aspects to this. So whenever we look at something and we say, oh, it's this one thing, or it's these 5 things. Now, in the Authority Matrix, which I'll be going through in the Authority Accelerator Masterclass, the Authority Matrix is my little cocktail of 8 elements of the human design chart that I dive deep into. And those are the places that we kind of swim in the most to figure out, okay, what are the codes of your genius? What do they mean to you in these ways? And how can we coax your meaning out of this? How can you start to work with this? There's a reason that my program is a year long and it's not something that I do in just 2 or 3 days and I say, okay, you're good now. It's because it is a process. It's a process of embodying what these things mean to you. So I encourage you to be patient with your human design process, however you're choosing to go through it, is to really allow it to do its work on you. That sometimes just even knowing some of these things, we have to start to put them in the back of our mind, put them into our experience, and notice how they have been showing up in our lives the entire time. It's always been there. But what's really cool is when you start to dive into the different aspects of your design, a lot of really amazing things happen. Because like I said, a lot of people who are gifted at what they do don't necessarily know how to speak about or aren't comfortable speaking about why they're awesome. Why me? That question of why you, why should people work with you? A lot of people will say things like, well, I really care. And that's wonderful. I'm happy that you care. You should care. And it's sad that there are so many people who don't, but you do have to go deeper than that. You have to say, because I'm really good at this thing, and here's how me being good at this thing helps you, because this is what makes me better at it for you than these other people who are not good at this little thing. It's never just one thing. So I'm going to give you an example. I did a reading the other day with a lovely woman, and she has been kind of dabbling in her human design for a little bit. And we were talking about her type, we were talking about her profile. And when I asked her, like I ask everybody before these readings, and she has a business reading booked with me as well. So she's doing the foundational reading. And I told her, I was like, we're going to go very deep in the business reading with me. So don't worry about if we didn't go deep enough. I'm going to give you the mechanics of your design. I want to make sure that that is all working and you're understanding that. And then we'll go to level 2 and we'll go deeper. But even just touching on it, when I ask at the beginning of readings, I always say, what do you hope to get out of this? Is there any area that you really want me to focus on? Is there something that you're curious about? Just so I know that it's important to you and I don't miss it. And she just said, well, I don't really understand my cross, my incarnation cross. And I said, fine, we'll talk about it. And she does have one of those ones that can be a little confusing for people to understand. Some of them are pretty cut and dry. And other times they're a theme. Like I always say, your chart isn't going to tell you that you should be an architect. but it might tell you that there are strong aspects of aesthetics in your chart. I have seen those charts where it's like, this is a very visual chart that you have. And a lot of times those people are already working in a visual medium. So now how do we take the other aspects of their chart and say, this is how you can enhance this? So there can be that aspect. Sometimes people are like, I'm trying to decide, I'm making a pivot and I'm trying to decide what direction to go in. And I might say, given these elements of your chart, have you thought about these questions? Have you thought about these things? And that helps to drive a direction. And it always comes back to, but it's your strategy and authority that's going to tell you where to go. But it can start to illuminate a path. It can start to help you say, like, I'm not crazy for thinking that. Like I say all the time, people come to me because I explain things. So this person that I did the reading for, when we sat down, she was like, I booked this with you. And she's in another country, so it was not the most convenient time zone for her, I'm sure. She said, I booked this with you because you explain things in just a way I haven't heard before. And she said, you don't sound like you're reading it off of a page, like you just read a book and then you're sharing the information that you're regurgitating. It sounds like you really know what you're talking about. That comes from me, not just knowing what my design is, but nurturing the aspects of my design that matter most so that I am tuning my gifts to a higher frequency and they are reaching people that I have never met before. And I have built a platform that has allowed me to broadcast my gifts regularly, and the right people are picking it up. I had no idea she existed in my community until she booked something with me. So as we were going through her genius and we were talking about it, and she has one of those more higher concept crosses where it isn't necessarily about something that seems obvious. She's going to have to lay it over her life and figure out, how does this play out for me? How does this reflect for me? But I told her, I gave her an explanation of her cross. And I said, let's break it down by the gates, and I'll do this deeper in the business reading, but let's go through this now because it matters to you. I want to start here. And I always mention the cross in a reading, like I'm not leaving it out, but I go deep into it in a business reading, which is what all of my clients get in the Business by Human Design mentorship. They all get readings with me, so I make sure that I'm going through that with them one-on-one. I took her through the cross. I said, let's break it down by the gates, and then I'll kind of tell you what the whole story is. And then it's for you to pick up and say, okay, how has this been playing out for me? What resonates, what doesn't? And that's where the work sort of begins. Because like I always say, the conscious sun in Gene Keys is called your life's work. Most people don't want to do the work, or they don't want to look at the work that had to be done in order for them to live in the gift of this thing. That's the work. Everybody's like, okay, I got the definition. Now what do I do? And it's like, well, now the work begins. But with her, what I was going through was I said, okay, now the cross is a thing, but there are millions of people who have the same cross. They're all going to do very, very different things. How do we get it to apply to you? Okay, well, let's start looking at this. You're a reflector. Let's look at how a reflector would have this particular gift, this particular purpose play out. Well, it's going to be through this. And I went through the way that it suddenly changes now when you look at it through the lens of a reflector. And you say, okay, you have this profile. Well, now we're getting to another nuance. And now we start to have something that looks far more specific than just a definition of a cross or a definition of one of the gates or 4 gates. And we're trying to figure out how all of these pieces play together. We are bigger and greater than the sum of our parts. But it does help us to break down the parts so that we could see them and we could start to put our awareness on them and we can start to nurture them. Because sometimes as we're decoding our genius, we discover things that need work. I discovered far more work than I found gifts in the beginning. I found areas where I was like, I had to look at it critically and I had to say, yes, I'm definitely spending more time in the shadow here. I'm struggling here, and maybe this is the first place I do the work because this is so important. I've talked about it a million times here. I had to work on confusion. I had to work on my relationship with confusion. It wasn't just like I have to find clarity. How do I find clarity? Because my go-to is to succumb to confusion and then shift into doubt and freak myself out and freeze and not move. Okay, well, now I can see that pattern. Now I can observe it. Now, the next step is, how do I transcend it? And then you work on that piece and you say, okay, well, now that works. Now that's doing better. Different doors start opening up through this process. Unexpected things happen. You start to discover things that maybe you didn't know were there, or the potential you always knew was there, but you either denied it, you downplayed it, or maybe it just came out different than you thought it did. But if you feel like you have potential inside of you, if you feel like there has been something calling to you, something saying, we're bigger than this, there's more to do here. And now I talked about, in a recent episode, I talked about the nodal shift, why everything shifts at 40 was the name of the episode. It was like 4 episodes or so ago. I don't have the number. We'll link it up in the show notes for you. But that episode, I talked about that shift of midlife, where we go from the south node to the north node. It is the center point, the turning point, the plot twist in our story, where everything starts to change. Now, the other way to look at this is that, I don't know if you've heard me say this on the show before, but your cross, you're not born with the purpose. You're born with the potential for the purpose. It is the walking the walk of your design throughout your life, discovering the gifts, learning the lessons. Some gates come with strong lessons, some channels. These are the things that we're here to master. It is a map to how you master yourself. So you lead yourself. But what happens is, at that midlife point, as you're starting to shift and everything starts to change, your cross starts calling to you in a bigger and bigger way. Your purpose starts telling you it's now. Do it now. Do the work now. And if you're feeling that call, then this is what I have found to be the fastest track to figuring yourself out, to really owning your gifts, to really embodying them, not just what it says on a piece of paper or on a screen that you can forward to somebody, but literally something that you walk around emanating from you. And it is immeasurable power when you have that. It is so exciting. It is so liberating, and it is so validating, because there is no greater power in this world than to be exactly who you were born to be. That purpose that you've been walking around your whole life feeling like it's maybe dormant, or it peeks out here and there, or you just know it's there even though you can't see it, to actually start to see it peek its little head out and start to show up, and you start to become it, that is priceless. So I will be taking you through my whole process of building a whole business according to your human design. The strategic sides of it that don't involve human design, and the human design part, the energetic stuff, and all of the energy-infused genius brand that I teach. I'm taking you through the entire thing in 5 days during my Authority Accelerator Masterclass, which is going on right now. You can jump in with us right now, catch the replays, jump in live. Please, if you want to join us, all you have to do is DM me the word Masterclass on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino Official. We will register you right there in the DMs. Or go to NicoleLaino.com/masterclass, and you can register on the website. If this episode spoke to you, I could not recommend this masterclass more. I take you through the entire process. And honestly, we get such amazing feedback about this masterclass. I don't know anybody that hasn't really loved it. They've all said that it's worth the free masterclass, has delivered more than paid programs have. So please, I would love to see you there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making it to the end of this episode with us. Remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everyone. We'll see you next time. If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to NicoleLaino.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.